some, but you live. You live to fight another day.
Yes, sir.
And you think you're a man with that gun in your hand, don't you? I'm a man without it. Put the gun down.
But ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the man himself. Aubrey Graham put the gun down and he picked up the lawsuit.
But then, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, look at the state of hip-hop. Like, what's going on?
Now, what's in front of your screens right now is, of course, the latest lawsuit from Drake's camp. And guess how many pages? This is 107 pages. Ladies and gentlemen, it took me a while to go throughout this lawsuit to break down key notes to the point where I thought I was back in the collegiate institution. So with that being said, of course, we're going to get into the overview for people who have short attention spans, right? We're going to get into the overview of the lawsuit details, but also I want to just make a pivot to compare Drake and Kendrick's situation to the situation that's going on right now that a lot of people probably aren't even aware of because of the fact that this man cannot drum up enough awareness to lead him to not be homeless. Why do I say that? Because Dodie came out and said, F Kendrick. This is a PG podcast, so that F stands for something. And it's not Weezy F Baby. You know what I'm saying? So Dodie came out and said, F Kendrick. Now, why would he say that? Let's get into it right now.
Nigga, that fucking song with Kendrick ain't changed shit, nigga. The fuck is that change, nigga? I'm still from 40s, nigga. I'm still over here, nigga.
Oh, hold on now. Is this the same man that's off GNX? Is that Kendrick's latest album? No way an artist gave another artist a pivotal platform. And then instead of being appreciative of that platform, he changed up and said F Kendrick. Now, where have we seen this before? Anyways, let's just go on Kendrick's page, right? GNX is the latest album from Kendrick, and not only is it the latest album, but currently it's the second most played album in the world, and Dodie's on it. So right now I'm perplexed. Kendrick gave you a premier platform, and what did you just say?
Nigga, that fucking song with Kendrick ain't changed shit, nigga.
Oh.
The fuck is that change, nigga? I'm still from 40s, nigga. I'm still over here, nigga. You act like a nigga got $1 million for that shit, nigga. The fuck, nigga? All that nigga got some clout, nigga.
Oh.
Clout, nigga. On the dead homies, nigga.
And he put that on his deceased homies. What? What in the world?
I was like, damn, look at the state of hip-hop. Like, what's going on?
Now, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, to get more specific, Dodie was on the track Hey Now. And not only was he on the track Hey Now, but it was the fourth track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My fault, I can't count. It was the fifth track off of GNX, meaning that Kendrick probably thought pretty highly of this track and the artist to put him so high on the GNX album. Because if you don't know, like I said, people attention span is very short, right? So if you ever look at any album, the numbers trickle down in engagement because the longer you get into the album, the more people click off because, you know, attention spans are short. But of course, Dodie went on to say F Kendrick, but not only that, he has some other things to say.
No destination, bro. On SC. Nigga, I lost my house. Nigga, I'm homeless, nigga. I admit that shit, nigga. I fell down. I'm gonna bounce back up, though. Watch this.
Nah, you gonna bounce back up.
It's all good, cuz. And these rap motherfuckers, I can't wait till these rap motherfuckers start saying shit in their songs. I'm like, damn, homies, I'm gonna beat their ass on the beat, and I'm gonna kill them in real life.
His homies 6 feet under, wondering why he keep putting sentiments on their name. Like, come on now. Like at some point, RIP has to stand for something. Please let them brothers rest in peace. So with that being said, let's listen to him go off on Kendrick one more time.
Nigga, that fucking song with Kendrick ain't changed shit, nigga. The fuck is that change, nigga? I'm still from 40s, nigga. I'm still over here, nigga. You act like a nigga got $1 million.
Hold up. No, we gotta get the F Kendrick in there.
Nigga, that fucking song with Kendrick ain't changed shit, nigga. The fuck is that change, nigga? I'm still from 40s, nigga. I'm still over here, nigga.
Oh, okay.
You act like a nigga got $1 million for that shit, nigga. The fuck, nigga? All that nigga got some clout, nigga.
Some clout,
nigga. On the dead homies, nigga.
Man, so much aggression in his words and his verbiage. It's almost like whenever you give a handout to somebody, give them a premier platform, in the future, they can end up switching on you and having that same aggressive tone towards you. I wonder what that can be compared to. Anyways, I can't figure it out. So anyways, let's get back into this rap battle, right? As Kendrick called Drake a pedophile after giving him his first ever tour appearance as far as a world tour, right? So Kendrick and his sentiments are very aggressive towards Drake after Drake gave him a phenomenal platform and took him on his first ever world tour. Fast forward to 2025, in the aftermath of Kendrick making the pedophile anthem not only one of the most impactful rap beef songs of all time, not only making it one of the most impactful rap tracks of all time, but at this day and age, I think we can now recognize Not Like Us as one of the most impactful tracks of all time, just in general. And that sentiment showcases why this lawsuit is so lengthy as far as a 107-page lawsuit. Now, of course, when it comes to Kendrick and Drake, they've been going at it for quite some time, as the most recent developments of their back and forth, which I'm a fan of. The Luther and Nokia battle, right? I'm a huge fan of it because it's two premier hip hop artists topping the tracks, but it's with straight quality music. It's not rap beef. It's not, well, rap beefs are also, rap tracks in a beef are also quality, but the continuation of that could make it overcooked and could make it stale, right? So with Luther and Nokia just being phenomenal tracks with no disses toward, well, it may have disses, but you know, for the most part, it's just a solid, phenomenal track. Luther and Nokia is battling it out on the charts, as Luther is the #1 most played track in the world. Been on the charts for 21 weeks, and it's only been at #1 for all 21 weeks. It's never even left #1 slot. So at this point, Luther is putting up a phenomenal performance, to the point where Kendrick is going to have yet another contender at whatever award show that chooses to acknowledge Luther and just Kendrick's GNX album. It's shaping up to be another, I'm not going to say a sweep, but shaping up to be another it's going to be a lot of wins throughout this year for Kendrick at award shows. Let me just put it like that. Now, as far as Drake, Nokia is the third most popular track in the world, right? And interestingly enough, when Drake put out Nokia like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I forget when it actually came out, but actually, let me just pull up. So Drake Nokia, the music video came out 3 weeks ago. It's at 14 million views, right? Kendrick followed that up because his PR team is the best in the game. And I say that wholeheartedly. It's not like I'm not being sarcastic or anything. His PR team is probably one of the best PR teams in the industry right now. Forget music, forget gaming, forget fashion, forget any of that. Whoever's working for Kendrick right now, they have mastered the art of PR, as they followed up Drake's Nokia track. Because if you don't know, when you put out a music video for a track, it starts to accumulate more eyes and listeners as far as on the charts. So not only was Nokia already third most popular track in the world, you put out a music video and then it could shoot up to #1. Well, what's at #1 currently? Luther by Kendrick. So what does Kendrick's marketing team do? They, approximately 13 days ago, put out the Luther track, which has 15 million views. So it's almost as if they're playing a back and forth, but I prefer this back and forth because we've already received the greatest rap battle of all time. So now, after battling it out musically with Luther and Nokia, I'm all for it. If they would have kept going back and forth with tracks towards each other and they was topping the charts, I would have been like, okay, it's kind of stale. Let me just get y'all a personal album instead of going at each other, right? That's exactly what they're doing now. They're giving us personal albums as far as Drake, well, with Party Next Door, as far as Some Sexy Songs for You, which is currently the 4th most popular album in the world. And then, of course, you have Kendrick Lamar's GNX, which is the 2nd most popular album in the world. So now it's strictly who can drum up the most engagement throughout their rollout for their album, right? It's no longer topping the charts with beef tracks. It's topping the charts with actual music from their personal album. So I like this as far as throughout the span of 2025, Drake and Kendrick have been carrying the flag as far as the engagement drivers in the hip hop industry. And of course, honorable mentions is honorable mentions is definitely Playboi Carti, where when he went #1 with his album Music, and of course Ken Carson, who is currently slated at #1 as far as having the most popular album with More Chaos, which we're going to get into later in this episode, as far as it's selling 63,000 first week. Now, that being said, so I prefer this back and forth. Drake, Kendrick going back and forth musically instead of bars is showcasing how not only are they the drivers in the hip hop industry when they're putting words together against each other, but they're also the drivers in this hip hop industry when they're just putting out solid quality music. Now, of course, let's get into the overview of this lawsuit for the people who do not want a page by page breakdown of the entire 107 page lawsuit that we're about to get into. I'm just going to give an overview. Then we're going to dive into the lawsuit. As with the latest installment of this lawsuit, Drake expanded upon his defamation against UMG as it alleges once more that Kendrick Lamar's performance of Not Like Us at the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, which I believe is a new inclusion. Now, the latest lawsuit has Super Bowl halftime show in the lawsuit, right? We knew it was going to happen, but now it's officially happened. So it's now in the lawsuit, and they said that a promotion during the Grammy Awards as well further damaged his reputation. And then, of course, it went to talk about the defamatory nature of the lyrics. We're not going to go too much. We're not going to reiterate those sentiments too much because I've already covered past lawsuits where that was detailed thoroughly. As if you type in Drake Analytic Dreamz with a Z, all my coverage of his lawsuit, or you just type in Drake lawsuit Analytic Dreamz with a Z, it should pop up as far as all my coverage of the previous lawsuits. Because as you can tell, I'll pull up the lawsuits and then I go through them. I have my notes and then I give it in a condensed fashion back to y'all. So as far as his overview, that's essentially what the latest installments of the lawsuit is saying. And of course, like I already covered, as far as Judge Janet granting Drake's team to have access to UMG's details when it comes to compensation at Interscope, meaning that they can literally look at Kendrick Lamar's contract, which I did cover back in April 3rd, where Drake celebrated the discovery win that allows him to request Kendrick Lamar's contract and more in the Not Like Us lawsuit. Now, of course, without out the way, UMG definitely had a response, and they basically came out and said Drake's claims are baseless in an attempt to silence Lamar's creative expression. They went on to say and label Drake's legal team's actions as absurd and warned that the lawsuit threatens artistic freedom. And they also noted that Drake is subject to discovery, meaning that Drake risk having sensitive information revealed about him. UMG is basically letting Drake know, hey, if we have to go down in this court as far as what the details are going to be showcased, as far as what may or may not be payola, you are also going to go down with us because we're going to reveal how we helped you and your rise to the top, right? That's what I got out of UMG talking about subjecting Drake to discovery as potential risk for Drake and sensitive information being revealed about him. Now, of course, there's been rumors thrown around that Drake's team is wanting $250 million as far as a settlement, but of course, no continuations of those negotiations have happened, right? Those are just rumors as far as the number that Drake's team is throwing around as far as what they want for this in this court. Because I remember covering UMG settling. UMG settled for payola. I believe it was back in 2009. Okay, it was back in 2006. Universal Music Group settled a payola case for $12 million plus $100,000 to cover investigation costs, as announced by New York Attorney General Elliot Spitzer. And the settlement addressed illegal practices from 2003 to 2004, where UMG provided bribes such as vacations, electronics, and cash to radio stations to boost airplay for artists including Nick Lackey, Ashley Simpson, Brian McKnight, Big Timers, and Lindsay Lohan. I wonder what makes Drake think that UMG is still engaging in the practices. It's almost like he signed to UMG and has been one of the better performing artists under UMG for quite some time. Anyways, so with that being said, that's the overview of the lawsuit. At the end of the day, Drake is simply claiming that UMG knowingly promoted Not Like Us, which falsely accused him of being a pedophile to profit, leading to reputable harm. So that's what the lawsuit is over. And of course, payola is also a part of the lawsuit, as when we get into the documents, you will get to understand the more specifics of that claim as far as them having certain practices when it came to boosting Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us track that Drake's team claims they didn't do the same for Drake's beef tracks or whatever. So with that being said, that's the overview. So for people who don't want to page by page break down the lawsuit, that's the overview that you can run with. And at the end of the day, I enjoy the back and forth because, of course, when I cover music, I really enjoy the hip hop and R&B side more, but I do like to get into the totality of music when it comes to affecting the masses. But Drake and Kendrick is currently affecting the masses in a way that is showcasing how they don't have to send bars towards each other to top the charts. With Luther and Nokia being towards the top of the charts, it's just showcasing that these are just iconic artists and they had a battle, but at the end of the day, fast forward to now, they are still topping the charts with tracks that don't have anything to do with one another, right? So anyways, let's get into the lawsuit, as is 107 pages. Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that this is a lengthy lawsuit, it is beyond lengthy. So get your favorite snack, your favorite drink, and let's dive into this together. And once more, if you want to see the video version, Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. So with that being said, page 1. Well, I already skipped over page 1, but you see page 1 right here. And page 2 is going over a lot of the table of contents. So I'm gonna have this up so y'all can look at it. Y'all can see the table of contents we're about to get into. Like I said, I went through the whole document. I took notes, so it's not gonna be as long as it looks right now. I'm basically gonna condense it into a fashion that makes it easier for you to digest, if that makes sense. So this is page 2 with the table of contents, and it's the second part of the table of contents going all the way down to page well, this says 103, but it's 107 pages, as you can see right here. So one of the first things I was wanting to do, gotta type in Kendrick. Let's see how many times he name dropped Kendrick. That is not how you spell his name. All right, there we go. Kendrick was named 326 times in this lawsuit. Talk about name dropping. They was dropping Kendrick's name so many times, you would have thought his team was the one being sued and not UMG. Because, you know, of course, Drake is my favorite artist, but I love to keep it 8 more than 92. As when it comes to Kendrick, he is under fire even if Drake is suing UMG, because UMG even said if Drake's claims hold any merit, they would they would sue Kendrick's label because of what Drake's claims are, right? Because UMG is claiming that they're innocent. So they're saying if he holds any validity, they're going to sue Kendrick. So Kendrick, at the end of the day, will be at fault for whatever happens in this lawsuit. That is why when people say, oh, Drake's suing UMG, he's not suing Kendrick, that's very disingenuous, because it's a defamation lawsuit against only Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us track. There's no other UMG artist in this lawsuit. It's even the payola part, which was confusing to me. How are you going to sue for payola and only have Kendrick Lamar as the only artist that's benefiting from it? Like, hold up, aren't you signed to UMG? Other artists are signed to UMG. Like, let's actually look at the chart toppers for UMG. Ken Carson is under UMG. Kendrick's under UMG. Sabrina's under UMG. Morgan Wallen's under UMG. Drake is under UMG. Playboi Carti is under UMG. All these albums are in the top 7 in the world. The top 7 most play. All these artists have a top 7 most play album in the world. Playboi Carti music is 7. Morgan Wallen's is One Thing at a Time is the 6th most play album. Sabrina Carpenter Short and Sweet is the 5th most play album. Party Next Door and Drake, Some Sexy Songs for You is the 4th most play album. Kendrick Lamar's GNX is the 2nd most play album, and Ken Carson's More Chaos is the #1 played album currently in the landscape of music. And UMG also has a whopping 52% of the entire music market share. What goes back to my point, if you're gonna sue for payola, why not include more UMG artists? It's almost like you're trying to go at a specific artist, but your side is saying, no, we're just doing this for the artists. We're only suing UMG. But the only artist being named throughout this lawsuit is Kendrick, who just beat you in a rap battle. So anyways, that being said, these are the table of contents. So now let's get into the lawsuit. As when I go into my notes, I'm going to jump around as far as these pages because I have certain notes. But of course, when it gets to page 49, that is why I'm gonna start breaking it down page by page, because some of these are saying the same thing as far as what we've covered in the past. So I'm gonna skip over those things. But as far as page 3 and the introduction, right, is obviously going at Kendrick Lamar's track Not Like Us, talking about how accused Drake of being a pedophile and citing real world violence. Now this is the big detail I want you to pay attention to, as Drake is talking about real world violence. What could he be talking about, right? Well, I'm glad you asked. So let me see, how do I type this in? I don't think that's it. Let's see, security. Oh, here we go. All right, so back in, let me see if I can find this right quick. So Drake, in the midst of the Kendrick Lamar back and forth, had his mansion shot at. And I remember covering this back in May 7th, 2024, right? I titled it Shooting Outside Drake's Mansion, Injuring Security Guard. So if you want to deep dive into that, go to that specific segment. As far as the overview, Drake, in the midst of the Kendrick Lamar rap battle, had his mansion shot at, right? And they even detailed it in the lawsuit going back to page 3 as far as the real world violence aspect, right? This is what they're talking about. So Drake's team, no, somebody else, we don't know who it was, but a group of assailants, as they're calling them, drove up to the Toronto house in which Drake and his family resided. Drake was inside. The car stopped in front of the residence. Someone yelled, F Drake. Well, that's not nice. And at least one gunman began to open fire. One bullet went through the security gate and hit Drake's front door. Ladies and gentlemen, not his side door, not his back door, not the door that he my fault. It shot through his front door, right? So when that happened, another bullet struck and wounded a security guard. This is the real world violence that I'm talking about. And now his security guard did everything possible to keep his security guard alive because he was bleeding out, right? So they kept applying pressure to the gunshot wound with towels, and blood was everywhere. This is real world things that's happening. It's not no fictional fairy tale. This is not Stan Lee reincarnated. This is actual real life events that's happened in the midst of the battle. Not saying this because of Kendrick Lamar's not like us. I'm just saying it happened in the midst of a rap battle. So now, after the security guard arrived at the hospital, surgeons worked quickly to remove the bullet, stop the bleeding, and save his life. Though it took days for his condition to stabilize, thankfully, the security guard survived. The very next day, May 8th, 2024, a different intruder used his bare hands to dig a hole under the security fence surrounding Drake's Toronto house. He managed to dig deep enough to squeeze through and enter Drake's property. Unfortunately, Drake's home security guard caught him before he was able to cause any physical harm, although the trespasser managed to yell racist slurs and threats against Drake before being escorted off the property. May 9th, the very next day, another break-in attempt happened. So, in the midst of the rap battle, all these attempts are happening at my mansion in the midst of one of the greatest hip-hop lyricists of all time calling me a pedophile. I'm not saying it has any correlation. I'm just saying it's very interesting how these happen in the span of a few weeks, and in this case, a few days. So anyways, let's get back to the lawsuit. So with that being said, that was page 3, right? Let's go back in there. So yeah, okay. So, no, that was page 4. My bad. That was page 4. So let's go into page 5. So essentially, page 5 is talking about how UMG allegedly exploited Kendrick Lamar's track by boosting his entire catalog, and that was to damage Drake's value and ahead of contract negotiations. So when we get into the lawsuit, we're not talking about frivolous things as far as, oh, I'm mad that he said this. Drake is claiming that it hurt not only his negotiation tactics with UMG, but also had real world violence happening to him at his mansion. So, and then they went on to say in page 6 that they removed copyright protection from YouTube/Twitch to ensure viral spread. Now, of course, this is where I believe it was the best marketing strategy you could have made in the midst of the rap battle. Okay, here we go. So what page is this? So page 9, right? UMG took the unprecedented step, contrary to its internal practices, to remove the recording's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the recording to ensure content creators would republish it broadly. So I have a very interesting take on this because, of course, when it comes to whitelisting for content creators, myself, I did not play Kendrick Lamar's music at all. I mean, y'all have seen some of the clips I've went viral for on social medias, which if you haven't, shameless plug, follow my social medias on whatever social media you use at Analytic Dreamz. More importantly, probably Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Make sure to follow that. So with that being said, and also my socials are right here. So with that being said, right, the main thing I was wanting to get at is just letting y'all know that not only is Kendrick Lamar's PR team, the greatest in just the entertainment industry at this current point, right? But they also help out up and coming content creators by whitelisting this track. Why wouldn't Drake do the same thing as far as replicating that type of marketing strategy is beyond me. I don't know why they just didn't copy what Kendrick was doing, because of course both of them was still putting out music on YouTube and Instagram first and then putting it out on DSPs, which I'm pretty sure the labels weren't too happy about that. But YouTube received exclusives to like some of the biggest tracks ever in hip hop. And I'm pretty sure UMG is like, hold up. They probably looking at their contract like, I know it says right here, and he did this. We're just going to let it slide. So they just let it slide, right? And that's why they said they took an unprecedented step contrary to its internal practices. That's what that means. So with that being said, my interesting take is the fact that when it comes to content creators and just influencers in today's age, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but back in the day, I believe it was a lot easier to be an influencer to the masses. Y'all got to hear me out, right? Today's age, you have multiple different options, not only just in different entertainment fields, but different niches. So not only do you have superhero type of niches, right? But now you have multiple options when it comes to invincible comments, when it comes to image brand as a whole. You have multiple people who report on those specific topics, whereas back in the day, there was like 3 to 4 channels, right? And if you didn't have, because nepotism exists, let's not act like it doesn't. If you didn't have the connections to those 3 to 4 channels to get on that airwave to impact the masses, you were just out of luck. There was nothing that was going to happen to help you be influential in the entertainment landscape besides getting let in by the gatekeepers that no longer exist today, because we see who people really gravitate towards, people who actually are authentically themselves and are not just corporate shields, right? People who authentically give news and while also being themselves, right? So back then, 3 to 4 or maybe 5 channels that you could differentiate what you wanted to watch, but that was it. Nowadays, there's thousands of people covering the same topic, trying to engage the masses, when back in the day, there was 3 to 4 channels. So the limited variety of options is why I'm saying back then it was way easier to be more coveted as an influencer than it is in today's age, because you just have way more options. So if they actually mess with you specifically, just know, out of all the options, out of all the thousands and millions of options, they chose you to get their information from. They chose you to disseminate to the public and to them what's going on in the latest of whatever your field is. When back in the day, they had no choice but to tune into certain channels to get that news. Whether you was good, bad, or complete garbage, if you had the right connection to the right channel, now you are a huge influencer. Whereas in today's age, the people choose who's the big influencers in the to the masses, right? So anyways, that's my big spiel on that. So that's why I'm talking about the whitelisting being a phenomenal move, because content creators get disrespected left and right. And it's almost as if they believe it's easy because every phone has a mic and a camera on it, right? And then they come to realize the amount of competition they are really facing. To be ignorant is one thing, but once you realize the amount of competition you're facing off of covering one particular topic and the different options the fan bases could go to, you probably respect the people who have built a certain following as far as engaging the masses, right? So I'm not discrediting the OGs from back in the day. All I'm saying is it's much harder today because you have way more options. All right. So anyways, with that being said, Kendrick Lamar's marketing strategy, Drake's team had a problem with, as they said it went against their internal practices, and, you know, removing copyright protection from YouTube/Twitch, which is one of the options they went with. Also, they paid third parties allegedly to fake popularity, meaning bots, stream the song and promote it covertly. So when people talk about, hold on, let's pull that up right quick. Let me see, stream the song, promote. Oh, it was right here. I'm tripping. it's literally right here. All right, I'm just trying to skip to it because I don't want to waste y'all time. I'm trying to condense this. It's 107 pages, so you got to bear with me. All right, so further going on about their point, right? They said that UMG scaled the Not Like Us track by covertly offering financial incentives, which is payola. I thought all the K-bots were telling me Drake's team took payola out of the lawsuit. Why? Right here on page 9 of 107, they're saying that UMG covertly offered financial incentives to third parties to deceptively stream the recording on streaming platforms. I wonder what that means. To play the recording on the radio. I wonder what that means. And to otherwise promote and endorse the defamatory material, all without ever publicly disclosing the payments. I wonder what that means. It's almost as if the K-bots lied about Drake's team taking payola out of the lawsuit.
But then, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, look at the state of hip hop. Like, what's going on?
So that being said, let's go on to page 7, right? Well, let's go back to page 7. So page 7 basically talks about Euphoria, right? Laying the groundwork for Not Like Us. And I don't like that argument. I don't like any of the defamation part of this lawsuit. I think payola is where the best argument lies. The defamation part makes no sense. Like, you are in the sport where this happens. It's like joining the NFL and suing the NFL for CT. And then Roger Goodell is going to pull up and be like, hey, hold up. You see this paper you signed? We ain't accountable for none of that. All that Antonio Brown that's going on in your head right now. The contract tells me that you signed that we not liable. So now you walking around not knowing what 2 + 2 is, but you mad because you spent like 3 years in the league. But guess what? You signed the paperwork, buddy. You can't get your CTE compensation. So it's like joining a sport, right? And understanding what comes with the sport and then being mad that you get what comes with it. That's why I don't like the defamatory part. I think it's insanely dismissive to the sport of hip hop. That is why I say the payola part is the best attack, in my opinion. The payola part people can get behind. The defamation part, I don't think anybody's getting behind that, especially as you are a hip hop artist who knows the tradition of that sport and the engagement of rap battles. So anyways, with that being said, they said that Kendrick's earlier diss track Euphoria laid the groundwork for Not Like Us. They also claimed that the public took Not Like Us as factual, leading to Pizzagate style conspiracy. Now, did they actually say Pizzagate? Ain't no way. They actually said Pizzagate in this. Okay, so page 10, 107. Okay, so UMG's greed yielded real world consequences as described above, right? It was just 3 days after UMG originally published the recording and image that Drake was targeted at his Toronto house by armed intruders in the 2024 equivalent of Pizzagate. I ain't gonna lie to you, they coming hard in this lawsuit. I did not know they was gonna name Pizzagate. That's insane. So anyways, as you can tell, they're not taking these pedo allegations lightly, which they shouldn't. Like, even when I covered Not Like Us, I always claimed it as the pedophile anthem because nothing ever came about it. We're not calling the cops. We're not getting Tony Busby to hop on the case. We're just coming out and plainly saying that you're a pedophile with no proof, right? So, very interesting tactic that ended up working in the grand scheme of things. But of course, in the moral side of things, you know, I was like, dang, like, you really calling this man PDF? Like, that's crazy. Like, didn't he put you on the first world tour? Like, whatever. So anyways, with that being said, pages 11 through 22, because we're going to skip through some of this that just reiterates certain things, because it talks about how Drake this is the interesting part. So pages 15 through 18, right, talks about, here we go. I'm just gonna have page 15 up. So page 15 through 18 talks about how Not Like Us caused Drake a lot of setbacks in his career, which is interesting because he notes that he had canceled endorsement deals. I wonder who was canceling their endorsement of Drake because of this Not Like Us track. Like, they must have been completely out of the know as far as what happens in hip hop, right? So also they said that he had festivals withdraw their invitations, right? And he lost a lot of streaming support or playlisting from UMG associated platforms. So Drake's team is really highlighting a lot of the ways that Not Like Us ended up setting back his career, which is ultimately leading the people to believe that he lost a rap battle. Drake is literally coming out in this lawsuit and saying that he lost a rap battle. Because if you're saying all of this, canceled endorsement deals, withdrawn festival invitations, loss of streaming support or playlisting from UMG associated platforms, what does that tell you? It's almost like somebody else came out on top post rap beef. So when they're talking about Kendrick in the way that they're talking about it, as far as UMG facilitating the release and widespread distribution of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, the defamatory part is very interesting because you're a hip hop artist that engaged in a rap battle, right? So anyways, Drake also claimed that UMG had editorial control or tacit approval over the marketing and press cycles that repeated and amplified the song's core claims. And that, I ain't gonna lie, I think that holds a lot of weight because, of course, I don't like the defamatory part. But if y'all remember, when Kendrick received his award as having the